for the prosecution of public servants with unexplained wealth. Inasmuch as I would say this is a very, very laudable one, but I must also say we have to be thorough in doing this. Yes, the Senate is considering a bill on tough punishments for corrupt officials, terrorism, and I think it's the way to go. But then what is good for the geese is good for the gander. One of the complaints that people have over the years when it comes to corruption cases is that it must be equal. We must not say that some people are above the law. We must not say that some people belong to one particular caucus and when they come clean while others are dirty. We must make sure that it comes across board. Everybody should be able to face the same penalties, safe penalties, because whichever way we look at it, as long as corruption is allowed to thrive in Nigeria, the country might not develop to where it should be. We cannot get to our El Dorado, to that peak, to that zenith that we all claimed we are trying and we are aspiring to get to, if we still allow corruption. Corruption is something we must all say no to in its entirety, because it grants the nation. Corruption cripples economy. It is something, it is like cancer that when it penetrates gradually, it eats developmental projects, developmental ambitions. In fact, there's nothing we can do in an atmosphere of corruption. It is an evil that almost all of us must come together to wage war against, to say no, we do not want corruption in our midst, to say no to corruption in all its facets. And another issue here is the issue of terrorism. Terrorism is something that I can't even imagine. United we stand, divided we fall. When we have issues of terrorism, then it's a very bad signal. It's something that we must come together to fight to a standstill. It's something that we must not just talk about, we must take decisive action to win the war against terrorism, against things that are confronting, that are threatening the peaceful existence of Nigerians. These are the things that I think we should look at. According to what I have heard, so the bill took into consideration the changing patterns and manifestation of money laundering as an offense. Yes, it is a serious offense. In situations where you see some public servants, some civil servants, they are earning very low salaries, but all of a sudden you see them erecting structures that you now start wondering. There is no way their salary in 30 years can even explain how they got that wealth. Yes, we understand that some people have streams and multiple streams of income, but there are some wealth that are unexplainable. There is no way you explain how you came about that wealth with the kind of salaries. And I think it's important for people to be able to clarify, to say, oh, I'm also doing this and this business, and that is how I can get this kind of wealth. I'm also doing other things. I also have other streams of income. And that way it will give into transparency. But it should not be for public officials alone. Even when we talk about our politicians, it should also apply to them. We have a situation where people will declare their assets when they come into office. But by the time they are leaving, you start wondering, because they are 30 times more wealthy than the time they came into office. And you now discover the very people that claim to be serving, the very people that claim to be helping, are wallowing in abject poverty. And you will not start wondering, who is serving who? Who is helping who? Are we helping the masses, or the masses are helping us? Is this applicable to all the climes, as it were? There is nothing wrong in having some gains. There is nothing wrong in saying there are peps and pecks of offices. Nothing absolutely wrong with that. But in a situation where we are now involving ourselves in corrupt and shady practices, then we should know some people are the receiving hand. The masses are the ones suffering. The very money that should have been made for projects that will improve and better the lives of the lowly will be channeled into some people's pockets. Then we should ask questions at that point in time, because some people are actually suffering for that money you are stuffing. And that is why it is very, very difficult. So for me, it is a good bill if it scales through. And it should also serve, we should make sure that the penalties are something that will discourage other people from tolling that line. Because in a lot of situations, people have said that in a situation where we have plea bargaining, where people can just say, oh, I've stolen 10 million, I want to return 5 million. And the person is still gaining. The person is going scot-free. Or where they are delayed in cases and judgments, where it's taking too long. People say justice delayed is justice denied. Then it might not serve as deterrent for those who are coming behind. But if you have stiffer punishments for people who are committing these heinous crimes, then it will discourage the younger ones who are coming on board to say, no, if this has happened to A, if this has happened to B, I do not want it to happen to me. According to them, they said the bill sought to make provisions for comprehensive and effective anti-money laundering legislation, taking into consideration the changing patterns and techniques now being employed by money launderers in today's global village driven by technological advancements. Anything we can do to ensure that money laundering, to ensure that corruption becomes a thing of the past in Nigeria, for me is a welcome development. But I will implore all the agencies to be thorough in their investigations, to be thorough in their dealings. It should not be an avenue to which owns people. It should be according to the set laws for anybody. Everybody, regardless of your background, regardless of who you know, or regardless of who you claim to be, the law should not be above anybody. And that's the most important thing. Because in a situation where people are now saying it's a way to which owns them, then we might be seeing another dimension to that fight. But if it cuts across board, then nobody can say, oh, what applies to A applies to B, applies to C and D. And so you cannot come and say you've been witch hunted. You should know that it is the legal process. It is the direct process. And we all told the line to make Nigeria a better place, to make Nigeria a safer place. We keep saying that we are borrowing money. We keep saying that we do not have money in circulation. But some people are still stuffing this money. Money that should have been channeled into developmental projects, to making life easier for the lowly, for the downtrodden, for the masses. Some people are stuffing it into their pockets, and they are making sure that they are getting richer and richer by the day. We still want more and more cases of whistleblowers, those who can actually come out and say, this is what is happening. We should not all keep quiet when we see evil thriving around us. We should be able to speak truth to power, speak truth to authority, be part of development, be part of progress, and we should not start as a clog in the wheel of progress. All right, having said this, I would like to take a break now. When I come back, it will be time for AM Trend. To stay with us, please.